Ololade wins Global Journalism Awards. Page 28, The Nation newspaper.
And on the late Alaafin says succession race for next Alaafin of Oyo State commences after 8-day fidao. Alaafin had over 200 aides accommodated in palace. Longest serving aide, Baba Kekere, served 3 Alaafins. Late monarch detests eating outside except in Arishokola's house. That can be found on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune.
APC begins sales of farms in Abuja State. 3 directors fired. Page 3 of the Nation newspaper.
And on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune, Bayelsa APC splits over push for Jonathan.
Suspect in OAU student death slumps in court. Page 2 of the Nation newspaper.
It will be injustice if I don't contest Oshibajo. That can be found on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And from page 7 of the Nation newspaper, world richest man Elon Musk buys Twitter for $44 billion.
And on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune, 19 northern states, FCT, PDP stakeholders reject sectional consensus arrangements.
Alaafin's body buried according to tradition, says Oyo High Chief. For more details, turn to page 2 of the Nation newspaper.
And on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune, 250 women in race for PDP elective post, 35% affirmative action not automated. Aneni.
Why I Am in Presidential Race by Osibanjo. For more details, page 3 of the Nation newspaper.
Federal government to concessions 12 highways to private firms. Benin, Asaba, Lagos, Badagry, Seme border. Abuja, Lokoja to top list. That can be found on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And from page 2 of the Nation newspaper, NDLEA arrests suspect behind 3 billion naira tramadol linked to Abba Kyari's team.
And the same story can be found on page 26 of the Nigerian Tribune. NDLEA says suspected drug baron behind 3 billion naira tramadol linked to DCP Kyari's team arrested.
NASU, SANU extend warning strike by 1 month, says JAC. Page 3, the Nation newspaper.
Weapons delay, blame military conduct, not cooker, Northern elders tells Buhari. That can be found on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Chrisland girl apologizes over video. Page 2, the Nation newspaper.
This one says death toll in Imo explosion rises to 110. That can be found on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune. 3,000
Yoruba displaced in Akwa Ibom crisis. Page 2, the Nation newspaper.
On health, malaria kills 300,000 children yearly. That can be found on page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Police bust kidnap syndicate in Ogun State. For more details, page 2 of the Nation newspaper.
And reps postpone resumption indefinitely. That can be found on page 28 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Tinubu Bakindo condole with Imo on refinery fire. Page 4, the Nation newspaper.
Osun PDP raises alarm over Ijesha South constituency contest. That can be found on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And on the page 23 of the Nation newspaper, APC council sensitizes voters.
On page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune, again, government kidnapped final year Delsuch students, demands 50 million naira.
And at this point, we'll go for a quick commercial break. When we're right back, we'll bring you details of the newspaper.
jẹ ọba ni wọn ó ṣe gàyà díẹ̀ ná ìlú ló láṣẹ ẹjẹ́ ìlú ó jẹun náà ìdí nìyí tó fi jẹ́ pé ẹ̀tọ́ ìlú là ń fowó ìlú ṣe nípìnlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ẹ̀rí bí ní ètò ẹ̀kọ́ wa ṣe ń jògèrè LAUTECH ti di tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ilé ìwòsàn alábọ́dé bíi 40 ló ti wẹ̀wọ̀ ọ̀tún pẹ̀lú àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ tòun tòògùn àti irinṣẹ́ tó kojú owó iṣẹ́ sì ti fẹ́ẹ̀ parí pẹ̀lú lórí 100 míì jákèjádò ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ààbò tó dájú òun ohun amáyédẹrùn ní ìṣokùnfà ìdásílẹ̀ iléeṣẹ́ ńláńlá láwùjọ òun náà nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ fi wà nípò kẹta nínú àwọn ìpínlẹ̀ tí ń pawó wọlé jùlọ lábẹ́lé nílẹ̀ wa ọ̀pọ̀ ọ̀dọ́ ló ti láǹfààní ẹ̀kọ́ṣẹ́ iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ lọ́nà ti gbàlódé táṣeyọrí yóò sì jẹ́ kó ń jẹ́ sùn wá bọ̀ láìpẹ́ nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ àtòṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì ń gbowó wọn lásìkò pápá àṣírí Adámàsìngbà àtàwọn inú ojú pópó tí ń sòrú dọ̀sán ńkọ́ àwọn ìlú ti sọ pásì ìwádùn níṣèjọba yìí fi ń mọrírì gbogbo àwọn aláṣẹ gómìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé ló ń sọ fún wa pé pẹ̀lú ìṣọ̀kan wa oòrùn tó kù lókè yìí ó táṣọ ọgbẹ.
iléeṣẹ́ ètò ìròyìn àṣà ohun ìrìn àjò afẹ́ tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló ń kéde.
to Newspaper Review on Aloore Radio. You can like and share on our Facebook at www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio. On YouTube it is at Aloore Radio. Our studio line is 09039853731. 09039853731. I have my first story from page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. It says 2023. It is Southeast Tom Adebanjo Clark others. Leaders of the Yoruba socio-cultural group Afenifere, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, has said the North is not interested in ceding power to any other geopolitical zone in the southern part of the country in the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC). The elder statesman made the claim on Monday while speaking at the Forum of Greater Nigeria Conference organized by leaders, stakeholders, and friends of Southeast Geopolitical Zone at the International Conference Center, Abuja. Chieftains of the APC who have formally signified their interest in the party presidential ticket include Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Senator Ibikunle Amosun, respectively, former governors of Lagos and Ogun State, serving governor of Ebonyi State David Umahi, and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. The list also includes former governor of Rivers and Enugu State Rotimi Amechi and Senator Chris Ngige. There is strong indication that former President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan could dump the People's Democratic Party (PDP) for the APC and contest for the latter presidential ticket. For the rest of that story, you can turn to page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. 2023. It is Southeast Tom Adebanjo Clark others.
And from the Nation newspaper, NDLEA arrests suspects behind 3 billion naira tramadol linked to Abba Kyari's team. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested a billionaire suspected to be a drug baron behind a 3 billion naira tramadol deal linked to suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari-led intelligence response team. Spokesman of the agency, Femi Babafemi, said in a statement yesterday that Chief Afam Malisin was apprehended after months of evading arrest. For more details, turn to page 2 of the Nation newspaper. NDLEA arrests suspects behind 3 billion naira tramadol linked to Abba Kyari's team.
On page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune, federal government concludes evaluation to concessions 12 highways to private firms. If everything goes as being planned, the federal government is in the process of concessioning 12 major highways to capable private sector firms for development. Already, the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing said it has concluded evaluation proposals submitted for Phase 1 of the Value Added Concessions VAC under the Highway Development and Management Initiative, HDMI. The HDMI is a PPP initiative of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing that seeks to attract sustainable investment and funding in the development of road infrastructure and maximize the use of assets along the road right-of-way (ROW) of federal highways in the country. The first phase of the VAC under the HDMI seeks to concessions 12 economically viable road corridors to technically and financially capable private sector firms, it says. For the rest of the story, you can turn to page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. Federal government concludes evaluation to concessions 12 highways to private firms.
Still on the Nation newspaper, APC begins sale of nomination forms today. Ahead of the ruling All Progressives Congress primaries, the sale of expression of interest and nomination forms by the party begins today nationwide. The party's National Working Committee looks set to replace some of the directors on compulsory leave. The sale of forms, which was earlier slated for last Saturday, was postponed to start today. Organizing secretaries from the 36 states are to collect forms for aspirants jostling for the House of Assembly seat, as the NWC has directed that nomination forms for the state legislature be sold at the state headquarters. For more details, turn to page 3 of the Nation newspaper. APC begins sale of nomination forms today.
And on the story of Aloore, I have this on page 8. 2 stories indeed. Succession race for next Aloore to commence after 8-day fidal. Succession race of the stool of the Aloore of Oyo will commence after the 8-day fidal scheduled to hold at Daba Stadium, Oyo, on Saturday. According to tradition, the Aloore ruling house will produce the successor of the late Oba Lamidi Adeyemi. According to the Alaafin ruling house chieftaincy declaration, the two ruling houses representing the two prominent sons of Alaafin Atiba, Atobatele, are the Alowolodu and the Aloore ruling houses. The late Oba Adeyemi came from Alowolodu ruling house, and with his demise, the Aloore ruling house is to produce the successor. By tradition, the head of Oyo Mesi, the kingmakers of Oyo, is the Basharun of Oyo, High Chief Yusuf Akiade Ayola, will coordinate activities leading to the emergence of another Alaafin. The state governor, Mr. Seyi Makinde, during a condolence visit to the palace on Sunday, had urged the Oyo Mesi to ensure that the vacuum in the Alaafin stool is not allowed to linger. For the rest of that story, you can turn to page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. Succession race for the next Alaafin to commence after 8-day Fidao, and Oshibajo, Aregbesola, Akarigbo, Ajibola, Tafa Balogun group mourns Alaafin. Many more prominent Nigerians have continued to mourn the late Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Olayiwola, who joined his ancestors on Friday at the age of 83. Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, speaking with journalists in Akure, Ondo State, said, aside impacting the lives of many in his community, the Southwest and across the country, the late Alaafin of Oyo was a bridge builder whose great intellectual knowledge and depth will be missed. He said, and I quote, "We all feel a great deal of pain and deep sense of loss. The Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Adeyemi, was a force of nature all by himself. He was a man of incredible knowledge, depth. He was erudite in every way. He was a bridge builder, and I think he created several avenues. In the 52 years that he reigned, he created several avenues for people from the southwest of Nigeria to interact with people from other zones or from those very early days." For the rest of that story, turn to page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. Oshibajo, Aregbesola, Akarigbo, Ajibola, Tafa Balogun group mourns Alaafin.
Still on the Nation newspaper, why I am in presidential race by Osibanjo. Vice President Yemi Osibanjo has said he will be betraying Nigerians and it will be an act of injustice if he does not declare intention to contest presidential election in 2023. Professor Osibanjo, who spoke yesterday in Akure, the Ondo State capital, while addressing delegates of the All Progressives Congress, said he believed the hand of God was upon him. He said it will amount to disservice to Nigerians if the experience he had garnered in the last 7 years was not put into service. Osibanjo promised to prioritize political actors in terms of appointment if elected as president. For more details, turn to page 3 of the Nation newspaper, Why I Am in Presidential Race by Osibanjo.
And the same story can be found on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune. It will be injustice if I don't contest, Oshibajo. I have another story on page 22. It says 2023, Bayelsa APC splits over push for Jonathan. His presidency call for service, Arewa support group. As major power bloc in All Progressive Congress, APC intensify lobbying ahead of primaries. Speculations were rife on Monday that former President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan may join the ruling party on Wednesday or Thursday, bearing any last-minute change of mind. Though neither the Bayelsa state-born politician nor the APC leadership offer any categorical position on the move, there were indications that some influential leaders of the party were among those behind the move to drag him into the presidential race for APC tickets. Members of the clique, which were said to have revived the project of having Jonathan on the ballot after making an initial retreat shortly when they sold the dummy more than a year ago. The idea of the ex-president seeking a return to power about 7 years after leaving office became more pronounced following the decision of the APC to zone its presidential ticket to the southern part of the country. Governors from the 17 states in the south, along with other prominent persons and groups, have consistently advocated power shift from north at the expiration of the tenure of incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari on May 29, 2023. For the rest of that story, you can check page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune. 2023, Bayelsa APC splits over push for Jonathan.
Ex-Minister Graham Douglas dies at 82. A politician, elder statesman, and four-time Minister Chief Aloore Tonye Graham Douglas is dead. It was gathered that the Rivers State politician died yesterday at a private hospital in Abuja at the age of 82. Before his death, he was married to Muriel. The union was blessed with 12 children and many grandchildren. For more details, turn to page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Ex-Minister Graham Douglas dies at 82.
And still on Nigerian Tribune, I have a story that says, Nigeria will witness improved election in Ekiti, INEC. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared that Nigerians will witness an improved electoral process leading to the June 18 governorship election in Ekiti State. The resident Electoral Commissioner REC in the state, Dr. Taylor Adeniran, stated that the commission was determined and prepared to conduct credible and acceptable election in the state, assuring the people that their votes would count. The REC spoke in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, on Monday while declaring one open a voter education implementation workshop organized by the Commission for stakeholders ahead of the election. For the more of that story, turn to page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. Nigerians will witness improved election in Ekiti, INEC.
Alafin was detribalized, says Algon president. National President of Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, Kolade Alabi, has described the late Alafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Adeyemi, as a detribalized. Alabi said Adeyemi made friends across the country and nurtured his relationships with monarchs outside Southwest. According to him, the monarch was a great custodian of culture and never shied from showcasing the rich culture of Yoruba land. For more details, turn to page 23 of the Nation newspaper. Alafin was detribalized, says Algon president.
And on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune, 4 children electrocuted in Ondo. 4 children have been confirmed dead, with 2 others receiving treatment at a hospital in Okeigbo in Ileoluji, Okeigbo local government area of Ondo State, after a newly installed power cable fell on a container being used as a shop. It was gathered that the victims, including 2 siblings who visited their aunt for the Easter holiday, were playing inside the shop when the cable fell on the iron container shop. One of the survivors, who identified herself as Blessing, said, "We were playing and suddenly power was restored. So we shouted up NEPA, but we heard the sound of a spark inside the shop and we ran out, not knowing that the new cable has fallen on my mommy's container. The wire trapped our legs as we walked out and we could not walk again. So I sat on a plank that was close to me, but the remaining children started to shake and vomiting blood. I shouted for help and people came to rescue us and we were rushed to the General Hospital, Oluji." Speaking, the owner of the shop, Mrs. Runke Adebi, said she was not around when the incident occurred. For the rest of that story, turn to page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune. 4 children electrocuted in Ondo State. I pray that God will help the family and console them.
Amen. Still on page 23 of the Nation newspaper, APC Council sensitizes voters. All Progressives Congress Professional Council is to embark on a nationwide awareness campaign for voter registration and collection of permanent voters' cards. This comes as Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has set June 30 as deadline for continuous voters registration. The council said the campaign was important to ensure that Nigerians who have attained 18 years and those who have not participated in the exercise carry out their civic responsibilities in the 2023 elections. For more details, turn to page 23 of the Nation newspaper. APC Council sensitizes voters.
And on page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune, malaria kills 300,000 children yearly in Nigeria, Oyo Commissioner, and 10 dies of malaria every 1 hour, NMEP. Although malaria is preventable and treatable, the disease continues to have a devastating impact on health, killing 300,000 children in Nigeria annually. Oyo State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Taiwo Ladipo, who made the disclosure at the 2022 World Malaria Day in Ibadan, said, in Nigeria, out of every 10 deaths in children below the age of 5 years, 3 are still attributable to malaria. At the occasion, which had other international partners in malaria intervention such as AIDS Prevention Initiative in Nigeria, APIN, Public Health and Presidential Malaria Initiative for States, PMIS, pregnant women were provided insecticide-treated mosquito nets and hand sanitizers. According to Dr. Ladipo, more than 2/3 of malaria cases are among children under the age of 5 living in Africa, and malaria still accounts for up to 70% of hospital attendance in all age groups. For the rest of that story, you can turn to page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune. Malaria kills 300,000 children yearly in Nigeria. Of your commissioner.
INEC, we are prepared for a Ekiti State governorship poll. The Independent National Electoral Commission has expressed readiness to conduct a free and fair governorship election in Ekiti State on June 18. It is said it had prepared for the poll to raise the bar of electoral credibility and deliver a poll that will meet international standard. The resident electoral commissioner, Dr. Tella Adeniro, spoke yesterday in Ado-Ekiti while declaring open a voter education implementation workshop organized by the Commission for Stakeholders. For more details, turn to page 29 of the Nation newspaper. INEC, we are prepared for Ekiti governorship poll.
And this worrisome story says, Hoodlum storms wedding sent off in Bauchi, killed 2. Bauchi State Police Command has confirmed the death of 2 persons after hoodlums stormed the venue of a wedding sent off at Gudom, Awusawa, a suburb of Bauchi Metropolis. Confirming the incident in a telephone conversation with the Nigerian Tribune, the State Police Public Relations Officer PP Harko SP Mohammed Ahmed Wakali said there was an incident where some thugs entered the house and started attacking people with ding guns and machetes. For the rest of that story, turn to page 26 of the Nigerian Tribune. Hoodlum storm wedding send-off in Bauchi, killed 2.
And from our last story from the Nation newspaper, from the world of sports, Dare Lads renovation of Obafemi Awolowo Stadium. The Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Sunday Dare, yesterday paid a walking visit to the Obafemi Awolowo Stadium in Ibadan to inspect the progress of work there. The minister, who recently embarked on a tour across the country to inspect various projects undergoing by the ministry, expressed satisfaction with what is on ground and has promised to give the renovation of the iconic sporting edifice its full concentration and support before the expiration of his tenure. For more details, turn to page 31, Dare Lads renovation of Obafemi Awolowo Stadium.
And the same story can be found on page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune. Dare inspects Awolowo Stadium as renovation begins. You can turn to page 30, as I have said, to read the rest of that story. And with that, we have come to the end of today's newspaper review. Thanks for listening. You can join us tomorrow for more edition on our Facebook account. Is www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio. You can also like and share on YouTube at Aloore Radio. Our website remains www.alooreradio.com. Thanks once again. I am Olukemi Omotosho.
And I am Eneo Asuko. Thank you for joining us and do have a great day.
ọgbà tí a ṣe jiná lóde ìrànjẹ́ làwọn aláṣẹ ìjókòó tí wọ́n fẹ́ máa jẹ ọba ni wọ́n ṣe gàyà díẹ̀ ná ìlú ló láṣẹ ẹjẹ́ ìlú ó jẹun náà ìdí nìyí tó fi jẹ́ pé ẹ̀tọ́ ìlú là ń fowó ìlú ṣe nípìnlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ẹ̀rí bí ní ètò ẹ̀kọ́ wa ṣe ń jògèrè LAUTECH ti di tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ilé ìwòsàn alábọ́dé bíi 40 ló ti wẹ̀wọ̀ ọ̀tún pẹ̀lú àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ tòun tòògùn àti irinṣẹ́ tó kojú owó iṣẹ́ sì ti fẹ́ẹ̀ parí pẹ̀lú lórí 100 míì jákèjádò ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ààbò tó dájú ohun amáyédẹrùn ní ìṣokùnfà ìdásílẹ̀ iléeṣẹ́ ńláńlá láwùjọ òun náà nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ fi wà nípò kẹta nínú àwọn ìpínlẹ̀ tí ń pawó wọlé jùlọ lábẹ́lé nílẹ̀ wa ọ̀pọ̀ ọ̀dọ́ ló ti láǹfààní ẹ̀kọ́ṣẹ́ iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ lọ́nà ti gbàlódé táṣeyọrí yìí ó sì jẹ́ kó ń jẹ́ sùn wà bọ̀ láìpẹ́ nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ àtòṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì ń gbowó wọn lásìkò pápá àṣírí Adámàsìngbà àtàwọn inú ojú pópó tí ń sòrú dọ̀sán ńkọ́ àwọn ìlú ti sọ pásì ìwádùn níṣèjọba yìí fi ń mọrírì gbogbo àwọn aláṣẹ gómìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé ló ń sọ fún wa pé pẹ̀lú ìṣọ̀kan wa oòrùn tó kù lókè yìí ó táṣọ gbẹ.
iléeṣẹ́ ètò ìròyìn àṣà ohun ìrìn àjò afẹ́ tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló ń kéde.